Welcome with a new episode of the Market Reporters. Every week we look back at the stock markets, at the economy, and we also look a little bit forward what will be on the agenda for next week.
Exactly.
We always try to look at what's important for our investors, and we look at that point of view from a economic and from a fundamental perspective. But I thought it maybe would be nice to start with a technical angle.
Yeah.
And that's because the markets are quite flat the last weeks, the last months almost. So a lot of clients, they are searching for some kind of direction. So they look
confirmation.
so they look at the news, they think there is a direction coming out of the news, but also they want to know it from a more abstract point of view, and that's from the chart. So for example, if we look at the DAX, the German index, it's now trading at around 13,217 points.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at a chart from a short perspective or for a long term. If we look for a short term perspective, then you see that
What is short term?
Short term is like that you think in days, and long term you think in months or in years. So in this case, 13,217 points, and the top is only a little bit higher, 13,243. So it's trading short term at the top, and at the bottom it's 12,310. So short term there is some space on the bottom side.
Horizon,
If you look more to with the glasses of a long-term perspective, then also the top is not a lot much higher. It's 13,744, so it's around 500 points higher, and the low is 10,900. So there is a lot of space, short term and long term, from a technical perspective
when you're looking
of
at
the DAX.
support and resistance levels.
Yeah. And that's not only for the DAX the case, but it's for a lot of stock markets that's the case. So I thought maybe it's interesting to present this.
Yeah, a lot of people they can find something to hold on to. If they have cash on hand, they don't want to start. You can look at the supporting level. Maybe you can step in.
You can use it for all kind of investments and trading.
Absolutely.
Long term, of course, more investing, and short term is more trading.
Correct.
ECB, Thursday, it's Friday today. ECB. And they came with their statement, and the most important one is that they are not happy with the inflation rates at the moment, but they think they maybe must downside the estimations for the future.
Correct.
And they also said at the same moment, we do everything is ready if something is necessary. And so no new actions, but that was also what the market thought. So during the presentation of Lagarde, the euro went at the end became stronger. It's now at around 119 again.
I think and then we don't want to talk about it. Brexit. It was this week on the agenda. Because there's so many things, and it's been going on for 5 years. But they are discussing again this week, and Europe is not very happy what is going on. I think Boris is playing a hard game now.
And hard Brexit.
And he's putting in scale. He's put a total value of trading value basically between Europe and UK of 1 trillion. That is, if they get to a hard Brexit, that nobody knows what will happen with that amount of trading volume. So it's really important that they.
It's about above the market. It's also with Trump. So you have the Brexit is a fixed date, and the elections in the US is a fixed date.
Exactly.
So it's the economy or the markets are in the hands of a couple of people at the moment, and then on the same time Trump declared that he won't postpone the deadline of 15 September.
For TikTok.
He said, okay, the activities of TikTok in the US needs to have an American owner. So that's above the market all the time. So ECB, euro, dollar, and that's also what you see. Trading is getting a little bit more popular in the last future in Forex. Forex is trading, is investing in currency. So you always choose a pair. So it's, for example, the Canadian dollar against the US dollar or the British pound against the euro. And also was a lot in the news about mirror trading. And that means they do it mostly with Forex, with foreign currencies. And they try to copy, you want to copy the strategy best. Where you believe, and that's the best. So you see a trader, he or she has a strategy, and you mirror it, you copy it, and you try to be as successful as he or she.
That person,
And you can do that with us, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
What was in the news, but you think you want to share?
Well, a little bit lighter subject, of course, it's Tour de France.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in the news about it. Either you like it or you don't like it. I like it a lot because I used to cycle in the past a lot until 2000.
Professional, eh?
Yeah, semi-professional until 2005. There's a lot of similarities. Thank you, Kaspar, for the word. With cycling and an investment portfolio. Of course, you need people that can climb very well, but in general, a Tour de France you don't win alone, and it's the same for an investment portfolio. And this morning I had a meeting with a client, and what was very clear that he had maybe a team with too much climbers. So he had specific stocks in his portfolio that this year were affected really badly, like banks, oil companies, and real estate. And then if you compare that then, for example, to buying a worldwide ETF. So many times, it's boring and this and that, but it's still, why would you buy the whole, go for the needle if you can buy the whole haystack? So if you want to have a good team, think about a solid base of ETFs.
Sorry to interrupt you. You're talking about two wheels. I don't want to talk about the four wheels of Tesla, but it was in the news and it went down with 21% on one day last week. And it was also because it was announced that they were not incorporated in the S&P 500.
Exactly. Yeah.
And why not? Because it's a really large company. Because there is a rule of the S&P 500 that you need to have at least 4 quarters of positive profit. And Tesla can't show that at the moment, so they're not incorporated. And if it's a company will be incorporated in an index, the index itself, the issuer of the index, they need to buy those stocks. Yeah. So that was the downside by not incorporated the Tesla. I don't want to talk more about Tesla.
No, but it's the same thing. And they know that Tesla might be, if we keep in the cycling terms, they might be really good on the flat. They always keep growing, especially this year. But they're not selected for the team. Yeah. So that is basically what happened with them. When you look on, you see a lot of football companies. They do have a listing. I think one of the biggest companies is with a listing in Portugal. Sporting Lisbon is one of the largest listed sports companies with a listing on the stock market. And if you look in the Netherlands, you've got Ajax. Ajax has a value of 300 million. It's funny because the Dutch largest cycling team, Jumbo-Visma, they're actually challenging Ineos, which is a UK team, originally Sky team, which was the most expensive cycling team in the world. They have a value of 300 million on the stock market. And what said Jumbo-Visma, they want to have the same amount of sponsor income than Ajax. Ajax approximately at the moment has 24 million euros annually on sponsor income. And I think Jumbo-Visma at the moment is around 12. So there's a lot of differences between cycling and football.
I think it's quite a lot still, 12.
Yeah, but you have to, of course. I think, might be. It's difficult to compare, there's always a lot of things to say about it. If you look about, companies that have a listing in cycling, there's only one that I can find, which is CCC, and it's actually a team that quits after this year. It's one of the largest Polish shoe companies, so they make their own shoes and they also have 700 shops. It's a really big company, 3 billion, but they're going to stop the sponsoring because they didn't have enough income, they didn't have enough sales. So that was that.
And if you, what we were talking about, the pressure on the market from the Brexit and from the elections, and
Correct.
you see that also with the oil price. I think oil price went under the $40. It's trading around the $40 now. You also see with gold went a little bit down. It's also quite stable. So it's all almost flat. You have a big, of course, the tech shares are going up and down during the week.
Yeah, but they also went the FANG index. This is like the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, etc. They went down 5.5 this week as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot for an investment if you see.
Yeah. So I think investors are a little bit waiting for some new signals, waiting for some next news. So what's on the agenda for next week?
For next week we have a few important things. We have the Philly Fed on Thursday, which is like the indicator for the American industry. It's an index containing unemployment figures, stocks in warehouses, production, etc. We have the car companies from basically not the car companies, the new car registrations for Germany, Italy and Spain and France. So basically the largest European countries. So
that's important because it's not only about production figures. The sales figures are.
It's much more important.
Much more important.
Because you can make some, but if nobody's selling, if nobody's buying your stuff, then
because when you make it, it costs money, and when you sell it, you get money.
Normally gives you some money. And then on Monday, maybe also important is just the general industrial production in Europe.
Okay.
So. Interesting things to see how we're going for the next quarter, because it's also end of quarter. Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah. We will have a look at it. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next week. Thank you.